Hey everybody, welcome back to Fin Scales and Fluffy Tails, and today I'm going to be showing you how I do a water change in my Axolotl's tank. As you can see, it's pretty dirty. It definitely needs a deep clean today. So I am going to be showing you how Pascal's tank gets a deep clean. The substrate is pretty dirty. Axolotls are really big waste producers, and you can see that definitely needs cleaned. There's some salt deposits on the side of the tank, so I will have to clean that off, and these decorations could be definitely scrubbed as well. I have already unplugged the sponge filter and turned off the fan. Sometimes I even do maintenance on the fan because that gets dirty as well, so I will take Q-tips and clean the inside of the fan. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that today, but I might, just because it looks kind of dirty and it's been a while since I've done that. But this fan is super important. It is what keeps Pascal's tank at about 65 degrees, which is pretty good. But the first thing I'm going to do with this tank is take out Pascal and take out the decorations. I have my supplies down here. Pascal will be going in that clear plastic tub, and these decorations will have to come out so that I can drain the water, clean the filter, and clean the substrate. So let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, Pascal and all the decorations are taken out of the tank, so now you can see just how dirty it is. The next step is going to be to use the siphon to clean the sand at the bottom, and I will also be cleaning the sponge filter. And how I'm going to do that is once these buckets are filled with the water, then I will take the sponge filter out and just squeeze it out and get all the gunk off of it. If you have a sponge filter, do not rinse it off in chlorinated water because you will kill all the beneficial bacteria. Sponge filters do not rely on chemical filtration to keep the tank water clean. They just have biological filtration. And because they're so large and have a lot of biological filtration, obviously like a lot of places for bacteria to grow in a sponge, that is how the water stays clean. So you don't want to kill the bacteria in your sponge. But if it's dirty, you definitely want to get the gunk off of it so that it can continue to keep your tank clean. So that is what I'm going to do, and I will check back in with you guys once that is done. Something else I'm going to do before I drain the water is I have decided I am going to clean the fan today, so I will take a Q-tip before I drain the water and try to get as much dust off of this fan as possible. And I'm going to do it before I drain the water so that if anything falls into the tank, it will most likely be sucked up into the siphon when all the water is drained, instead of draining the water, having dust fall into the tank, and then not being able to get it out, resulting in when you refill it, then there will be dust in your tank. So if you have a fan, clean the fan before you drain the water. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Then I will drain the water and clean the filter. So now the water is drained out of the tank. I cleaned the fan as best I could using some Q-tips, and I cleaned out the filter. The next step is going to be to take a paper towel with just regular tap water and wipe down the glass to get rid of the salt deposits on the side of the tank. Now the glass is clean. I used a paper towel to wipe it down. So as you can see, it's much more reflective and much cleaner now. So this is what the tank looks like. No decorations, no water. So now the next step will be to empty these two buckets and refill them with water. So now I have some clean water in these buckets, and the next step will be to fill this tank. This probably won't be enough water. I'll probably need to fill one of them at least half full to completely fill the tank, but the next step will be to fill the tank with the water I have, replace the decorations, and then continue filling the tank. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I have filled up the tank most of the way with water, And now the next step would be to clean off the decorations and replace them in the tank. What I usually do now is I usually turn on the fan, but it is kind of loud. So I guess it's not that loud, but I will turn it on, and that helps to keep the water cold. This water is pretty cool right now anyway, but that will help it along. And I usually also plug the filter back in, but I can't do that one-handed. That is the next step, is to clean off the decorations and place them in the tank. So I'm gonna plug in the filter and then I'm gonna get to it. So here's where Pascal is while I clean out his tank. There's all the decorations, and there he is with his moss balls in his little tub. So I will be rinsing off the decorations and putting them back in the tank. So now that all the decorations are back in, what I have done is I have put Pascal and his tub in the water so that he can acclimate to the temperature, because the tank water is slightly colder than the water in his tub. But as you can see, the tank is not completely filled, so I will go into the bathroom and fill this other bucket up enough so that I can fill the tank the rest of the way. Okay, see you when that's done. And that is how we do a water change in Pascal's tank. Now I have this lid in here because I just finished filling up the water. That lid is where I pour the water so that the force of the water doesn't displace the sand and everything else in the tank. So now that the water change is done, we can take this out. And now the last thing that we do after the water change is done is check the temperature of both the tank and the container that Pascal is in. And then we can let him go. I try to do this gently. That way, Pascal doesn't get all freaked out. I find that if I move too quickly, Pascal gets really scared. So if I move slowly, then he is perfectly okay and comfortable in his new clean tank. Okay. If you guys want to see more, Pascal has his own Instagram, which the link will be down below. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Thin Scales Fluffy Tails. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!